What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about our big 40-day trip, the cost, what to expect, our favorite places, our least favorite, truck fuel mileage, truck weight, all that good stuff. If I could you run out to the glove box of the truck and grab the weigh slips? Yeah. So I know that. Scott's machine is down here, as you guys have been following along. You know that we had a little bit of, I don't want to say diff problem, but an axle problem. We couldn't get the axle out. Axle problem and somewhat of a diff problem. I explained to you, I think it was in previous videos, maybe Sand Hollow Moab, that the clip that holds the axle in, we couldn't get it out. We're good now. We have it figured out. You guys have been asking for an update on the diff. That will be very, very soon. Yes. I would say within a few weeks, you guys will know more about that. We got to meet with a lawyer, get all the good stuff figured out for you guys to make sure we're 100% legit when we bring this to market. So we can bring it out full force and keep moving with no glitches. I think we're ready. I think we're good. I think you guys are going to love it. That's what Scott's is down here for. We also have a bunch of tubing over here. I'll give you a sneak peek here, what to expect. We have a couple videos being filmed. You got a machine here with a cage. Got one back there with a cage. I got 2 more cages coming, another couple builds. So we have several garage videos coming for you. But I wanted to tell you about some of the stuff that you're going to be seeing coming up before we get this video started. Got some of the tubing here. We also have Sheri's machine that we're working on. I should say Sheri's old machine. No, it's still mine. The there we go. The OG Dirty Money. We have a new name for it. We're not sure yet, but it's in the process of being resurrected too. But we want to sit down. We want to go over the trip with you. So we let you know what's going on, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that good stuff. And I think the most question that we got asked was about fuel mileage versus. Scott has a 6.6 Duramax diesel, 6-speed Allison transmission, 2019.
Yes.
We have a 2020 F250, 6.2 liter, 6-speed. We averaged 8.8 miles per gallon, and you averaged 12.1 miles. And that was over the course of 7,506 miles. So our cost per mile is 38 cents. Scott's is 36 cents. So I'm going to break that down a little bit further. So over the course of 7,506 miles, we got 8.8 miles per gallon, and we weighed in on the cat scale at 19,980 pounds. And that was our total weight. Our trailer is 10,480. But the total weight with all of us in it, our 2 dogs, the trailer, the truck, a full tank of gas, everything, was 19,980 pounds. And that was for us. Yeah. Scott weighed in at 19,860 pounds. So we're talking, we weighed 120 pounds heavier than you.
Right. Which was probably Cooper and the dogs.
Or the dogs, yeah. So
which is wild.
Yeah, so you had 3 people. We had 4 people and 2 dogs. Yeah. So we are 120 pounds different from one another. Scott's trailer weight is 9,140. So his trailer weighs a little bit less, but your truck probably weighs a little bit more.
Right.
So we're going to call the weight a wash. 120 pounds, I don't think is going to make a difference. So what I will say is, for us, let me tell you, we spent $2,871 in fuel. Scott, $2,719. So we're at $151 difference in fuel cost over the course of 7,506 miles. So, sorry, it's really hot in here. It is. It's cooking in here. So 7,506 miles, 120 pounds difference. Scott averaged 12.1. We averaged 8.8. And the total trip was $151 difference. So I will call that a wash. What I will say, is anytime we went to a restaurant or needed Wi-Fi, we left our truck running because their dogs were in it. So we left the AC running. So I would say there's probably a couple hours extra runtime in our truck. So had we not, it probably would have been maybe $100, $125 difference rather than $150. But that is what it is. So that was the biggest difference. $151 from a diesel to a gas truck. Ford, Chevy, GMC.
It's a Chevy.
So that clears up the, that was our most asked question, was gas versus diesel. And I know out west, when we went out west, the cost of diesel was actually sometimes $1 less. I think, what would you pick it up for? It was like $3.19.
I think that the least that I paid for diesel was, I think it was either $3.19 or $3.29.
Okay. And I think when you were paying, this was basically from like New Mexico up through Colorado, pretty much all the way out west. Out east, we had diesel beat. Diesel was more than gas.
Oh, it was at least $1 less.
So when we got out there, diesel was less. There was a couple times we paid $4.29 a gallon, where you paid like $3.19.
No, I don't think it was ever that big of a difference.
No?
No.
Okay. I know the most expensive we paid was like $4.29. And I think the least we paid was like $2.89 probably.
Yeah, the least I ever paid was either $3.19 or $3.29.
Okay. So that covers the diesel and gas cost. Out west, gas is more expensive than out here in the east. I don't remember where the cheapest place for gas was, do you? I'm not sure.
I don't remember either.
I know the cheapest for diesel was out west. I can't remember what gas was. I want to say it was probably out east somewhere.
Yeah.
Kentucky, Virginia area is usually kind of cheaper, but that covers the gas and diesel. Now, like I said, the gas was 38 cents a mile. Diesel was 36 cents a mile. And then you get to the gas for the side-by-side. So I think we went like 800 miles-ish. So we had like 800 miles of riding during this trip in our side-by-sides. And that broken down per mile is 46 cents per mile. And I don't know, it's actually only like 10 cents more than what gas is.
Yeah.
So not too bad. I would say out to eat, well, groceries. We had $1,500 in groceries, $1,200 in going out to eat, $2,000 in like activities aside, going to the Grand Canyon, the Dixie Stampede.
The two most expensive things we did, activities, were the helicopter ride and then the Dixie Stampede.
Okay, yeah,
those
helicopter ride was amazing. That was worth it.
Well, those totaled like $1,400. So really, all the rest of the activities were only like $600.
Okay, yeah.
So all the natural things like the Grand Canyon and the Devil's Tower, those weren't very expensive to get in.
No, like $30 a carload or $20 a carload and stuff like that. So, then you get down to lodging. Our total lodging for the entire 40-day trip was $5,750. And that was for the channel paid for lodging for everything. So huge thanks to you guys for allowing us to be able to do that. The tablet cells, the cages, the YouTube stuff. You guys paid for our lodging for the entire trip. So huge shout out to you guys. You guys are killing it for us. So thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
And then we have the riding passes. So we have $1,000 in riding passes, and that was just for us.
Yeah.
Family of 4.
Roughly 500.
So yours was probably for a family. It was just you and G most of the time. Yes. I think a couple of places you had to pay for Crystal.
Yes. Even though she didn't ride.
Yeah, for the most.
Which were Which were S'more?
S'more was one of them.
And
Crossbar.
Yeah.
So
you had to pay for people that weren't even riding.
yeah, they just to be entered into the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
those two places.
So your cost is probably about $500. Our cost is about $1,000.
Yeah, roughly.
So we'll try to base this off of a family of 4. So the riding passes were $1,000 for everywhere that we rode. So, I mean, there was some money getting spent. We don't have to really go over that because that was, putting money into the trailer, putting new brakes in. Pre-trip stuff that we had to do. So, I mean, I have that marked down here. We don't really need to go over that. So, for you guys to take a trip for a family of 4, like we did, you can expect to pay $12,216.
Is that with all the $2,000 of activities?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah,
That's
really,
that's with everything for a family of 4. I took half the lodging out.
Yeah.
because Scott's lodging was included.
well,
For a
if
family
you
of 4.
took another $1,500 off, because if you didn't do the helicopter ride or Dixie Stampede,
Yeah.
I mean, you could, if you didn't do those activities,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would save you a ton of money.
like $1,500.
I mean, if you really want to break it down, total cost of the trip was just under 20, but we spent $4,700 getting stuff ready.
Yeah.
That included
Extra.
shipping your junk side by side back. So
It's not junk. That's
not
nice.
anymore, it's not. But I'm just saying. So
Down and out. Just
For-
down and out.
for a basic trip to do what we did, 40 days for a family of 4, you're right around $12,000 if you did the exact same trip that we did. Obviously, we camped the whole time. We had a few Airbnbs.
Yeah, so if you took the Airbnbs out and some of the crazy kind of excursions, you could probably do it for 10 for
Yeah.
a family of 4.
Which
Maybe
isn't
even less.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you
if
didn't
you-
eat out at all,
Right.
you know.
yeah. Add $1,200 in there for eating out.
Yeah.
$2,000
Gotta
for
try the
activities.
food, though.
Yeah.
We ate a lot of Mexican.
So
We did.
there was a lot. Yeah,
It was good.
there was a lot of food ate in every state. We had to try all the food.
Well, some days when you're driving and stuff, you can't really cook. So
So I wanted to break the cost down. I mean, we could really. I kept track of everything. We could keep track, and we could go over it, but we would be here forever. The most expensive place that we rode, S'more. Yeah, S'more was the most expensive place to ride, as
just,
far as
passes and lodging.
yeah. I have it broke down by like so. So Blue Hauler, 124 to camp for all of us, $40 to ride. You come up to S'more, it was $480 to camp and $230 to ride.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty. And
it's a pretty big jump. So
but tomorrow was one of our favorites.
I would say
S'more was awesome.
the cheapest place to ride was New Mexico
Yeah.
because of
Thanks,
our new
Jackie
friends
and
Jackie and
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Yes, guys are awesome.
They allowed us to stay in their driveway in their yard. We rode for free there because it's like was it BLM land?
Yes,
It's kind of like it's like local land. Bureau Land Management, I think.
Yeah.
BLM. So that was the cheapest place. Aside from that, Blue Hauler was the cheapest place to ride. And so Blue Hauler was the cheapest. S'more was the most expensive. So aside from cost, $10,000 to $15,000 comfortably. If you guys wanted to take a 40-day trip around the country, if you're able to swing it, then 10 to 15 for a
also
family of 4.
with 2 machines.
Yeah, with
you
2
could
machines,
do like
yes.
one 4-seater, and that would
Yeah.
probably take.
That
It
would
would
take.
definitely.
That's
Our-
$500.
our side,
almost,
yeah.
yeah.
So when we buy gas for the side by side, we have to fill up 2 side by sides. So
And some passes were per machine.
So we
and not
have-
per person, so that would.
we have $685 in side by side gas.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to cut that in half, if you have one side by side, that was for both of our
And
side by
then
sides.
passes, because some weren't per person, some were per machine, so that might vary a little bit too.
The passes, yeah. So aside from cost, you could probably do it for, let's say probably 10.
Yeah.
So 40 days around the country camping. We camped at everywhere but 2 Airbnbs and 2 hotels.
Yeah.
So if you camped the whole time, you could cut your costs down. If you stayed in hotels or Airbnbs, your cost is going to go way up because the Airbnbs out west are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, especially if you're only 1 or 2 nights, because then the cleaning fees and all that stuff is for 1 night. Whereas if you're staying for a week, it
Yeah.
breaks it down a little more.
in Amarillo, how long were we in Amarillo? 1 night?
Yeah.
$511 for that Airbnb for 1 night.
And then the Grand Canyon, I think we ended up doing 2 nights.
Yeah, so you could definitely cut that lodging cost down if you guys were camping.
Yeah.
But I really just wanted to let you guys know, in case anyone's thinking about taking the trip, what to expect. You guys helped out tremendously with your tablets and cages and watching the ads. So this wouldn't have been possible without you. I just want you to know that aside from the cost, we want to talk about
We could do some like pros and cons of things we needed and didn't need, or
Okay. Pros and
things
cons.
we took too much of. Didn't need.
Did we take too much of anything?
I don't think so.
I don't think so
I
either.
don't think so. I don't think
Okay.
you can ever actually really take too much, but
What about something that you wish we had that we didn't?
another Halo.
All right, I got that.
Just kidding. The washing machine, we got a portable washing machine, and that actually came in super handy.
The washing machine was sweet.
It was
Yeah.
clutch.
Yeah.
You guys had the same type of washing machine,
Yeah,
like
I
little
don't-
portable thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same one, but it
Yeah.
did a really good job.
Yeah.
Put like a small load in and a little spin. It actually spun it till it was pretty much just damp to the touch, and I just hung them up and dried. But that was super nice. And then we'd once every week and a half, 2 weeks, we were at somewhere that had a washer and dryer if
Yeah.
we needed to wash
Yeah, the Airbnbs.
really muddy things
Yeah.
or really big bulky things. But we really didn't have too much of that. It was so hot. We didn't wear barely any hoodies or.
Anything you wish we had that we didn't?
I can't think of anything right now.
I mean, the trip went fairly smooth.
All things considered, absolutely, 100% agree with
Okay,
that.
one thing we should have packed that we skimped a little on was we took a used trailer tire and we should have took a brand new one
Yeah.
instead of a used one.
Yeah.
Because we had
So
to change it twice instead of just once.
so we had the tread come off of one tire, and then one kept going low.
The
And we
tread
kept
came
filling
off
it
with
up.
a new tire.
Yeah, the tread ripped off of a brand new tire. We caught that in one of our videos. I'm not sure which video right now it is, but we did catch that. So we went through,
I think that was in South Dakota.
was it?
I think.
We went through 2 trailer tires.
Yeah, the used one we put on, the
Yes.
tread was already kind of, you could
Yeah, so our
see
brand
the
new
edge.
trailer tire, the tread ripped off, so we put a used one on it.
Yeah.
And that tread also started to come off.
Yeah.
So we got another tire. So technically we went through 2.
Yeah, but we should have just packed a brand new tire
Yes.
for a spare instead of a
For
used
7,500 miles,
one. Yeah.
2 tires. Well,
That's not
actually,
bad.
no, not bad.
One
The one tire
actually.
was free, so we only really had to spend money for one tire.
Yeah.
And then you had
Good one.
a self-inflicted wound at Sand Hollow.
Sand Hollow.
I'm not sure that I grabbed that in the camera.
Yeah, it was like
I can't remember if I
1
got
a.m.
it in the camera or not. It was like 1 a.m. I'm not sure if we talked about it because I did lose some footage from the Hoover Dam, so I'm not
Which would have
sure.
been the same night.
I think it
Yeah.
was the same time that we talked about it. But
It was on the way home from there.
so our campground has gates that we didn't know about. We left. We went to the Hoover Dam in Las Vegas. We didn't get back till like midnight, maybe a little bit after, and the gates were locked. We had no idea that the gates were locked or that they locked the gates. Kind of dumb if you ask me. Whatever. But they have an out
Spikes.
that doesn't have a gate, but it has spike strips that are shaped like this. You can go out and they fold down, but you can't come in or you get flat tires. Well, on our way back, Scott and them went through Vegas. We went around Vegas. We thought we were going to beat them back. They actually beat us back. But we got back. We couldn't get in, so we were like, okay, we're pushing these spike strip down with our like hands trying to drive over them. Sheri says, let's pull the floor mats out. We laid the floor mats down. We got over. I text Scott and I'm like, hey, you got to be careful when you come in. These spike strips are the only way in. He's like, yeah, I know, I got a flat tire.
Not from the spike strips.
Nope.
So go ahead and tell him your story, Scott.
All right, so Crystal was driving. I was holding the spike strips down. We got the front tires over. Absolutely no problems. For some crazy reason, I pulled a crowbar out of the back of the truck, and I was using it to hold them down. And I really couldn't do it with the crowbar, so I just left it lay there, and I was using a board. And Crystal got halfway up over, and I just told her to go. So she drove over the board and cleared the spike strips, and then ran over the crowbar that I had laying there.
He didn't put one hole.
Nope. Both ends of the crowbar got 2 spots of the tire.
Like, what luck is that
Yeah,
to get
that's
both,
my luck.
both in?
I can't remember if we talked about it in a previous video or not, but if we didn't, there's that story. So we ended up, our truck tires were fine. We had 2 trailer tires go.
Yeah.
Scott's trailer tires were fine. We had a quick battery change and we had to open the doors. Getting way too hot in here.
Even the camera overheated.
yeah, the camera overheated. So I think we finished off with your story about
Awesome tire.
flattening your tire at 1 o'clock in the morning at the campground. Aside from that, no vehicle troubles.
No.
Things we broke on the side by sides.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't have anything, so go ahead.
Guy.
All right. I broke a bolt on my radius rod.
Breaking hearts, that's what you're doing. I broke my diff. I broke my whole side by side first. Overheated it.
Okay, we had to get a spare side by side.
Yeah. I broke the halo.
Broke the halo. Ring and pinion. It's sitting right there.
The tooth.
Missing one tooth there. Ring gear, pinion, shot. That's that.
That's it.
You broke a couple smart lock axles. 3, 4.
3 of them.
Okay. 3 axles at one time.
I was trying to get out of it.
So you
That's
you
like
broke an axle at S'more,
More.
and then you broke 3 axles at
Baby
Blue Hauler.
axles. That made for the
Sherry
stuff.
lost the broken parts game.
Hey, I
You
dare
broke
anyone to
an
beat
axle.
my record.
And a gear shifter.
Yeah, beat that. Beat that.
If you weren't around for that or missed that, this is Scott's gear shifter. It's a 12 millimeter wrench. So yeah, Sherry broke 4 axles, but they weren't halos. They were smart locks.
You just can't run stock axles with a.
Heavy foot.
How dare you?
I'm saying, just notice I'm saying this on camera, so it's documented. She's not gonna attack me here. She's gonna beat me up when the camera's off.
Listen, we can count how many times Jesse says you're gonna have to send it. So.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You got me there.
Okay.
A Blue Hauler. I said it was a
Also
Hail
on
Mary.
camera.
I will say, I'll add this. The spot where she broke 3 axles at the same time was really nasty.
Yes.
Maybe the nastiest spot any of us have ever attempted.
Yeah. It was an impossible, almost impossible. I don't know how recent it's been climbed,
Right, I don't either.
but it is very.
Oh, we could go back on. I don't even know if a dry day would change it.
I don't know. I tried every which way, and I
It
had to
was-
save it like 3 times from flipping backwards.
It was a really good spot.
What was it? General something at Blue Hauler.
General Decker's
Last stand. Yes, that's it. At Blue Hauler. It's a good climb.
I mean, if anyone wants to beat my record of 3 axles in one hit, just let me know.
I don't know. I think that record might stand for quite some time.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to break 4 axles at one time.
Could you imagine? That would be awful.
If yins have not seen that video, you have to go back and watch it because you can hear each one break.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just pop, pop, pop.
I mean, maybe we go back and try it with some Halo 30 axles.
I don't know. Or a 72-inch machine with 35s, maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know.
That has 4-wheel drive.
I don't think that's anything. We haven't really talked about that lately either. Are you sticking with 35s?
Probably not.
To be
if-
revisited.
Maybe if you give me yours or Sherry's so that I can try the 32s out, and that might just seal the deal. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's a necessarily an axle braking problem
No.
anymore. I think it's more of like drivability, bouncy.
Yes.
35s are a lot to wrangle when you're hitting really hard stuff. When you need momentum to get you through.
Yes.
Or just
'Cause I think-
more control.
Because I think we have the right setup for running 35s right now. I think the front end that you're running in this will handle the 35s. It's
Agreed.
just the drivability. To me, seems like it's hard to wrangle and it's very bouncy and throws you around a little bit.
Well,
We
some
can
of the rock
revisit that.
chrome, you have to have like a precision line that you need to take,
Yeah.
and if you're hopping around
Right.
You can't.
I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say about, hey, my 35s are bouncy too. So I don't know.
Yeah, I am probably 99% sure I'm going back. Not going back, but going to 32s.
Yeah, because you've never ran a 32 inch Zilla.
No.
So something to note if you guys are having issues with your 35. I mean, it is really hard on parts. It's hard on bearings, ball joints,
Everything.
bushings, axles. I mean, still even with the biggest axles and the best diff that you can buy, there's something's going to end up giving. Whether it's a drive line, whether it's a stub in the transmission, the pinion. I don't think there's a way to beef everything up. You can make the biggest, baddest, best diff in the world.
And something else.
Something else is going to break.
Well, not only it's like the wear and tear. Like an axle or a diff or a pinion can only take so many hits before it starts to wear at it. You know.
Yeah.
They might just give out at a different time, but it just depends on how they wear.
Yeah. So we covered the cost of the trip. We covered some problems that we've had, things that did we cover what we wished we would have taken? I don't really think there was anything. I think we were pretty well prepared.
The trailer tires.
The trailer tires,
a brand new one instead of a janky one.
Yeah. So other than that, we didn't have any issues other than the tread coming off the tire, your flat truck tire.
Yeah.
Everything went very smooth.
Yeah. I don't think.
The amount of miles.
Yeah, with the amount of miles, we couldn't ask for much better. Honestly.
I think it was right around 200 hours, right?
210, I think.
210 hours. There was a lot of idle time because, like I said, we had to leave our dogs and stuff.
Truck,
yeah. So one thing I will say that I wish we had
Wi-Fi
was better freaking internet. We could not find anywhere that had decent enough internet to upload YouTube videos.
Not till we got to South Dakota.
South Dakota was the first place that I could actually upload a video within a few hours. If you're not worried about uploading videos, you're probably good. I mean, we had decent cell service. I ran through our mobile hotspot within like 20 minutes. I called Verizon. I said, hey, I need more hotspot. I ended up switching to a different plan that would give me and Sheri both like 30 gigs of hotspot. Ran through that in like 2 hours uploading videos. I think we used your hotspot.
Yeah,
I used our friend Tim's hotspot.
Yeah.
I used Wi-Fi from everywhere. We're talking 2 to 3 days to upload one video to YouTube. So that was my biggest hurdle was editing wasn't really an issue. I could edit the videos fairly quick, but getting them
to upload.
Yeah, the download speed, like if you're just using your phone or watching a video, it's fine, but if you're trying to upload something, you need like really good internet, and we had no good internet. What was that place? Chris's campground?
Yeah.
Chris's campground was the first place that I was like, dang, I uploaded like 4 videos in 2 days there.
Loved it there too. They had 2 pools. They had a store.
Yeah, that place was awesome.
They had the animals. The kids could feed the animals.
Okay, so that brings me to my next thing. What was your favorite place that we went to? Just place in general.
Right? Oh. I don't know.
What was your favorite state?
Oh gosh. It depends. Each one had its own. Colorado, the views and scenery were just amazing. Also New Mexico for views and scenery. And Utah, probably those were like the best, like scenery, views.
Favorite state?
If I had to pick just one, it would be New Mexico.
New Mexico?
New Mexico, 100% for me.
Okay.
I really like New Mexico.
I was going to say, dang, now you guys got me thinking. I'm going to say my favorite state as far as driving and scenery wise was Arizona.
Arizona?
Even just driving through Arizona, they had huge canyons.
Yeah.
The Grand Canyon.
Yeah, we were like driving down in that canyon that one
They had the
and we cut up through
the what was that curved river?
Horseshoe Bend.
The Horseshoe Bend. Like
that was awesome.
just driving
and
through Arizona was
literally right off the road. The road that you're taking to go through there, it's right there.
Yeah. So
not out of the way.
What was it? A half a mile walk back in. That was it.
Yep.
Yeah. So that was really cool. What about favorite place to ride?
S'more in New Mexico.
S'more in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Favorite place to ride?
Well, it's a tough one for me because I would probably pick S'more, but I could barely get around with 3-wheel drive there. So if I was an outsider looking in, I would say S'more, 100%.
All right, we got 2 for s'more.
But for me personally, because I got to ride, would be New Mexico.
All right. Okay. I was thinking you were gonna say Moab. You still?
But I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Moab was awesome.
Yeah.
But again, I was limited because of my 3-wheel drive.
True. Very true.
S'more, New Mexico, and Sand Hollow were probably my top 3.
Okay, so we have 2 for s'more, 2 for New Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say my favorite place to ride was s'more.
Well, it's unanimous.
Which is weird because we wanted to experience out west, but yet we picked more of an East Coast type of a place that was our favorite. I'm gonna say though, Sand Hollow. Man, Sand Hollow and s'more for me are like neck and neck. If I could choose only one place to go back and ride, it would probably be Sand Hollow. Just because I don't feel like we hit everything there.
Oh, we didn't scratch the surface
There are
of Sand Hollow.
so many obstacles at Sand Hollow. It's just one after another after another.
And again, for me, with Sand Hollow, I only had 3-wheel drive.
True.
So I didn't
that has
get-
to sway the opinion.
Right,
A
I
little bit.
didn't get the full effect.
I would say, I'm an obstacle kind of a person. Like I love the trails to get to an obstacle. If you throw an obstacle, that's my favorite type of ride. I want to get somewhere and like hit an obstacle. Sand Hollow is nothing but obstacles. You have really cool scenery views, like scenic views. You have sand, you have rocks, you have climbs. You put Sand Hollow on the East Coast, man, that would be amazing.
It would be.
Those like little whoop sections at Sand Hollow.
Yes.
On the gate, those
Yes.
are fun. Just
Yeah.
that stuff.
You just hit the throttle.
Yeah.
So, s'more, New Mexico,
Sand Hollow.
and then I'm s'more in Sand Hollow. Moab was very close. I mean, Moab was really cool. Moab was amazing. But if I had to choose Moab or Sand Hollow, I'd probably pick Sand Hollow.
People always say Moab or Sand Hollow. I would pick Sand Hollow. Moab was really cool, but I don't think there was as many obstacles.
It seemed like it was more trail oriented,
You
but
had
the
to
trails
travel
were.
maybe a little bit further in between the obstacles.
That's what I didn't like about Moab was, you had there was like 10 different trail systems or trail heads that you had to drive to. They're very not UTV friendly, so we had to rent a trailer.
Yeah.
It was an awesome experience, but yet it was kind of a bummer having to travel to different places to ride. But it was epic. If you have a chance, definitely don't let this sway your vote.
Absolutely
Go to
not.
Moab because Moab was just
Incredible.
yeah, it was amazing. But
Well, like I don't know, like technical wise, like there were just people on rented side by sides everywhere. So
they were
literally-
on stock 20. There was like
Yeah.
Terex's on stock 26-inch tires doing the stuff.
So
Yeah.
realistically,
They weren't doing any
Once we hit
obstacles.
Perch Canyon, though,
Yeah,
that's a totally
yeah.
different story. We didn't even see one person.
Yeah,
But
you can.
could be anybody and go at least experience Moab.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah, you don't have to have any type of crazy rig.
No.
To do the obstacles on some of them, I would say you need a decent machine. Like you're not going to see a Terex with 26 hit the hot tub or the escalator or something,
No,
but to
you
experience
could
it,
go
yes.
drive up all that stuff, like driving over that thing in the beginning of what was it, Hell's Revenge.
Hell's
Yes.
Revenge, yeah.
It's
That-
like a
that's-
baby lion's
Yeah,
back.
Yeah, that
that's
thing was
crazy.
nuts.
Like doing that kind of stuff, you can do all that just in a stock machine.
Yeah.
So you can just
Okay.
don't be intimidated by that.
Yeah, no. Give me 1 second. It's gonna be just a short clip, but I gotta switch out batteries, and this GoPro's getting hot, so I'm gonna switch GoPros.
South Dakota gave us
Okay.
some really good
We're back, folks.
views and stuff too.
So we talked about our favorite places to ride. Everything is good there. Now,
I love Stony too, though.
okay,
We were just
Sheri's
talking
adding
about-
Sheri's
There's
adding
so-
Stony. Let's go
there's
over the.
so many cool.
All right,
Yeah,
let's
we're
go
just
over the
different.
places in case you guys aren't familiar with everywhere that we rode, or you might have missed some videos. I'm just gonna run down through the list real quick of places that we went to.
Let's just do them in order so we can
And,
remember.
okay, so Tennessee,
I always love Tennessee.
Yes.
we went to Durham Town.
Yep.
And then we went from Durham Town to Indian Mountain. And then from Indian Mountain to Stony Lonesome. And then we went to Mill Creek in Arkansas.
Yeah.
Disney in Oklahoma.
Yep.
Crossbar in Oklahoma. And then that would have been our New Mexico ride at a place locals called Southern. And then from there,
We went to the Grand Canyon, then to
we went to Sand Hollow.
Yep.
And then we went to Moab. Then we went to Colorado. And then we went to South Dakota and rode to Black Hills. We did the Alpine Loop in Colorado. And then we went from South Dakota in the Black Hills. We went to S'more in Southern Missouri off-road ranch. And then from there we went to Blue Hauler.
Yes.
And I got to back up for just a second. Colorado was epic. You can't forget about Colorado. If you want riding with a view, you're not going to get any better than the Alpine Loop in Colorado.
Agreed, 100%.
It's kind of the same. You can go in a Jeep. You can go in basically any side-by-side.
Very easy trails unless you want to take some offshoot stuff.
Right, which we didn't really do.
If you want to do the Alpine Loop, it's like 6-ish hours and like 70 miles.
Don't go in June because like most of the stuff wasn't open.
There
were a lot of passes
but
open yet.
if you don't go in June, you might miss the snow.
That is true.
Go.
I guess if you
End of June, beginning of July.
Like we went. That was perfect.
Yeah, just a lot. Some of the passes weren't open. If you want to do the extreme stuff, you're gonna have to pick either snow or the extreme.
I mean, Black Bear Pass wasn't open, but we couldn't do it anyway.
Yeah.
We're not allowed.
Yeah, we wanted to do Black Bear Pass, but from what we're told, that it empties out into a not side-by-side friendly area, so whatever. We really wanted to do it. Had we known, we could have set up like trailers at the bottom of the trail, went to the top and did it or something,
they
but
said
it was closed because of the snow anyway, but okay. S'more. We're all in agreement S'more is probably our favorite.
Yeah.
And
S'more is incredible. It is
for the riding that we like.
Yes, East Coast. It's like East Coast riding, really.
Yeah.
Little
to no traction, rock obstacles.
Yes.
And
very
then,
technical.
And then Sand Hollow, New Mexico, Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay.
Views is, I mean, you just can't beat Colorado for the
it was
scenery.
Epic. Yeah, it was least favorite place to ride.
Well, it's the most boring.
Boring is the right word.
It was South Dakota.
It's South Dakota, the Black Hills.
There was a lot of excitement because we're used to hitting like obstacle after obstacle, or it was just like some gravel roads essentially.
Yeah, that's basically what it was.
There was like one harder section that we did hit.
That was what?
The Kong, I think it was the Kong Trail. It was like
50 yards long, maybe.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Is South Dakota your least?
Yeah, absolutely.
Least favorite, most boring.
It was my least favorite ride, we'll say, out of everything that we did. I mean, I'm not disappointed at all that we did it because there were a lot of cool things we seen.
Yeah, if you
like
the
kids' favorite campground though.
The campground was amazing.
Oh, the campground was fabulous.
It was. They have a great setup.
Yeah.
I would still go. I don't know that I would go back.
I don't know for riding, but
the views were amazing. They're like you're driving through like farmland. You're driving through cows. Great views, but to get from place to place to place. I mean, we were cruising over 40 mile an hour for like an hour to get from one place to the next, and it was all like my driveway right there. I'm sure there's other stuff. We only had a day and a half, 2 days, so we didn't get the full experience. So if you guys have ridden there and there's a lot of other stuff, we didn't see it.
Yeah, I know you can ride at that state park where they said about that wildlife loop. It takes an hour.
Okay.
I know you can ride there, so maybe some like wildlife scenery things there.
So I'm in agreement with them. South Dakota was probably the least exciting.
Yeah.
Kind of. I don't want to say it was boring because it was still awesome. Like, I don't regret it one bit.
The lookouts were cool.
Yeah, Custer Peak, Cement Ridge.
Yes, Custer's Peak was phenomenal.
It was all amazing. Great views, but it wasn't anything like awe-inspiring. It wasn't like, oh man, I have to come back.
Yeah.
So.
I might go back to see some buffalo up close.
Mount Rushmore was really cool though. But, what about your second least favorite?
I don't know. I feel like everything else had some factor that would, like Mulberry Mountain, there wasn't a ton of technical, but there was
stuff to make up for that.
To see.
Yeah. You said, I think you said before, I don't know if you're forgetting about it, you mentioned Durhamtown.
Oh yeah.
That would be my next one.
Would it be?
Yeah.
Durhamtown, I don't know. I really like the drag racing, so I could drag race.
I would go back to Durhamtown though.
Yeah, I would too.
I wouldn't even hesitate. I would go back
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
Durham Town was
Like
a
I
lot of
could
fun.
drag race all day long. I could do that all day long.
I don't know how many. I don't think we caught in the video how many times we drag raced. I think I only threw a few in there, but
That's fun.
okay. And I hit the track a
But
lot.
next time I need a tune first.
I need to be on 32s.
Yeah. So was Durham Town your second pick?
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, I would say that's.
But like I said, I would go back there without hesitation.
Yeah. I'm gonna say.
I think why that's also on the bottom is because you have to stop riding at like 5:30.
A lot of the places we went to, you had to
Yeah.
stop riding early.
Yeah,
I think everywhere in Alabama, you had to be off the trails early.
I don't get that.
I don't either. It was kind of a bummer.
It
but
was.
There's just so much evening left. Even if you don't want people riding like at night, then maybe like
Even a
7, 8
I was going to say a
9.
compromise.
Yeah.
Like you said, 7, 8 o'clock.
dark. Be off the trails before dark.
Yeah.
Like a
Well,
lot
it
of,
gets dark at like 9 o'clock, so make it
Yeah.
8.
yeah. Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
that gives us 3 more hours of riding.
Yeah, 5:30. It was like, geez, we had like 4 more hours just to sit there.
Sit there and wish
Wait.
we were out there riding.
Wait for the next day.
So we were on ended up taking us 39 days to do the entire trip. 7,506 miles, around 200 hours of driving. I think our total days that we actually were riding in the side by side were about 30.
Yeah.
And we had a few days to go do other stuff. So is there anything else that we need to cover in this video? We did the truck, the fuel costs, we did the cost of the trip.
Natural things, I guess, or like the
What was your favorite activity
activity.
aside from riding?
Probably seeing the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal.
Say Grand Canyon, Gatlinburg in Tennessee,
Oh, that was a blast.
and Pigeon Forge. Yeah, so much fun. Literally, you could spend months there and not do everything.
Yeah, it was really
There's
cool.
so much stuff to do.
The Dolly Parton Stampede.
Yeah, that was so much fun.
That was a lot of
It
fun.
was a
I
lot of fun.
was
And
gonna
the
say.
food was really good.
Yeah, it
I
was.
was gonna say my favorite was probably obviously the helicopter ride over the Grand Canyon, and then probably the Dolly Parton Stampede.
Yeah.
So it was like a really cool
The
show.
helicopter was Cooper's, and Emma's was feeding
The squirrel.
the squirrel at
Feeding
the
the
Grand
squirrel at the
Canyon.
Grand Canyon.
And then when we were at S'more, like in where you can go ride, the horses were just like
Kind of
running
like
wild.
yeah, free range. in there.
And they came in every night, and Emma would go up and just spend a couple hours with the horses.
Do you know offhand what favorite spot like G had, or where there's what was her favorite moment?
She really liked New Mexico as well.
New Mexico was amazing.
She still talks
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, well, she also loves the show that was filmed in New Mexico, so she was at most
Breaking Bad.
Yeah, so
Okay,
she was most
alright.
excited to go there for
Yes.
that too.
Before
Yeah.
we went left, she was excited to go
Yeah.
go there because we were just outside of Albuquerque.
yeah, yeah, that's right.
I
Yeah,
think
we
she
were
said
only
the
like
house was
10 or
a
15
mile
minutes away.
Yeah.
A few miles
Yeah.
away or something. Yeah. So.
What about Crystal's? If you're not familiar with Crystal, that's Scott's wife. She doesn't really ride in side by side, so you don't really ever get to see her much. But
Oh, 100%. That was
it's more.
It's more.
Oh,
'Cause
well-
she got to
Oh,
go
yeah.
to the last house that Laura Ingalls actually lived in
Okay.
from Little House on the Prairie. And she loves Little House on the Prairie, so she was just in her glory. She got to go.
We did. I loved Cadillac Ranch.
Yeah, I
That was
forgot. I almost
fun.
forgot about that one. Yeah.
We did a lot of really cool stuff.
Devil's Tower.
Devil's Tower.
It's 1.3 miles to walk around it. We
Yeah.
did that, yeah.
I know I flew over top of it and I could see a little rock formation. So there's definitely people up on
You
top.
can get. I think it said you can get permits
Okay.
to climb it.
So if you're following along, some of this might be repetitive. If you weren't following along, you might have missed some. But we'll go over the places that we actually went. So we went to, what was the first activity was Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. We went and did a few things there. And then we did the Sky Bridge at Gatlinburg.
Dixie's Stampede.
We did it's
Dolly
called the
Parton
Dolly
Stampede.
Parton Stampede now.
They also do have a Hatfield McCoy one.
Yeah, Hatfield
Dinner
McCoy feud
show.
in
They have
Gatlinburg.
that one there too. That's cool.
Oh, we went into the Wonderworks too
Oh, yeah.
there.
We did
Yes.
Wonderworks.
Yeah, that place was pretty
That's
cool.
the upside down
House.
house. That was really, the kids loved that.
Yeah.
And then from
If you could spend more time there. because there's so much more there
I'm sure
to
you
do.
could spend
Yeah.
hours there.
Yes, you could spend the whole day there actually.
Yeah. Basically everything in Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg was like $40 a person.
Yes.
So just plan
Yeah.
on that.
Well,
Yeah.
what about the escape room?
Oh, yeah,
That
the
was
escape-
so much fun.
That was
That's
that
what
was
I feel
awesome.
like it was not that long ago.
No.
I can't remember, but yeah.
It was-
The escape room
yeah.
was really fun.
Yeah, and then from there we didn't really do any activities until we got to Texas. We did the Cadillac Ranch.
And we ate at the Big Texan.
Yeah, and then from there we went to the Grand Canyon. That was like the next activity. Went and saw the Grand Canyon, flew the helicopter, and then from there the next activity was the Hoover Dam.
No, you just went to Arizona.
Oh yeah, we did the zoo, Arizona, and then we went to the Hoover Dam, saw Las Vegas, and I think that was it, right? As far as like,
Rushmore.
yeah,
And
Mount
the
Rushmore
Devil's Tower.
and the Devil's Tower. Jeez, I can't believe I forgot about those two.
I will say one quick thing here I want to add about the Hoover Dam. When you drive up to it, you go around a bend and then you kind of see it, and I was like very disappointed. I'm like, wow, it's not very big. But then when you actually drive down to it,
Yes.
it's enormous.
I thought
When
the
we
same
were-
thing when we were driving in.
Yes, when we were driving by, I was like, this thing ain't that big.
Yep, that's
Like-
the same thing. I'm like, oh man, you gotta be kidding me.
And we did get searched.
There.
Not strip
No,
search.
I'm just kidding.
We went. I don't know if we covered this in a video or not. I can't remember. So I'm sorry if this is like repetitive. But when we got there, we went through a guard station. They come out. We had tonneau covers on both of our trucks, and they asked if we had any guns or drones.
Yeah.
I think
Right.
drugs.
Drugs, guns, and drones.
I think.
And
We are fitness.
we said no. I was actually going to take my drone, but I don't think I did. I think I just had a
Yeah.
GoPro. And I filmed like 8 armed guards with black face masks, black hats, and like sunglasses come out. And I filmed all this. I'm really bummed out that I lost it. And they come out and they're like, we need to see you in your truck, or the bed of the truck. So we opened the bed. They were asking Sheri what was in our gas cans.
Yeah, because we had like 4 or 5 gas cans each in there.
They're like,
Did you have gas cans?
No, I didn't have
you
any
didn't
gas.
so they were searching the bed. Well, not really searching, but they were looking. Should have been like, it's ammonium nitrate or something.
Yeah, right. I didn't get arrested.
So they are very, very particular on, I want to say, safety.
Safety,
I
yeah.
would say. They said ever since 9/11 they've I guess upped their security. And as
you
we're
can only go in the one side. You can't go out that other side.
you have to go in and then back out.
Yeah.
Very high security for being a dam, I guess.
Yes.
But I guess that dam can cause
Some
a lot of damage if
serious
you
issues,
throw
yeah.
some C4 out the window, I guess. I don't know.
It would take a lot more than C4 to take that dam out. My God.
Like the whole bed of the truck.
I don't even know if that would do it.
But yeah, I was like, okay. I don't know if it was worth a 2-hour drive until we got out and actually walked on the dam. And I was
Agreed.
like, wow, this is actually pretty massive. But it was one of those things where it's like, was that GoPro?
It must have been.
Yeah, that was still
Okay.
going.
It was one of those things where it's like, it was hard to see like the depth perception. Like your mind, it was so kind of like big or far down that your mind was kind of like, how big is this really?
Yeah,
Like one of
kinda
those
like
kind
the
of
Grand
things.
Canyon. Once you saw it so far, it just looked
Yeah, it was just,
flat.
it was
What was the
amazing.
height of that thing? Wasn't it like 700 feet or something?
It was 642 or 700 feet, something like that.
I think it was in the sevens, but it was 600 and some feet wide at the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think that thick at
That's
the
what I
base.
meant,
At the
thick.
base,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thick of concrete.
Yeah, and what was the top? 2 lanes plus sidewalks
I
on
think
both sides.
it went up to 40 feet.
40 feet.
It was
thick
40
at the
feet
top.
at the top and 650 some feet thick
And
at
it was
the bottom.
it was really cool to be able to see the water line to where it used to
Yes.
be up there too, which was
Well,
pretty cool.
As soon as Cooper found out we were going there, he just wanted to do the where you pour the water over the edge
Yeah,
and the updraft makes the water
it was.
float.
So you could stand there. You could stand 1 foot away from the edge, and be like, no wind. And as soon as you go like this, it was like gushing wind from the shape of it. So Cooper took like a water bottle and like dumped it out, and the water went up instead of down just because of the updraft. That was pretty cool. He was excited
Yeah.
from like
I
before we
guess
even left for the trip.
Horseshoe Bend we stopped at. We didn't say that either.
Yeah, Horseshoe Bend.
Yeah.
I didn't actually walk over to it. I flew the drone while you guys walked, but
but it was, I think, only $10 to park there,
Yes.
I believe, in a half-mile walk, and it was just, it's definitely something to see. It's
Yeah, and
massive.
Breathtaking.
Yeah.
so this trip we hit, I don't know how many, I know we named them, I don't know how many actual places there was, 15 or 16 actual riding places.
Add them up and you can put them on the screen.
Okay. So we went to all these riding parks, and nothing, I feel like these were some of the, I want to say like the top notch, not like, there was some of the top riding that the country has to offer, and it was kind of all in our way. Like, we didn't have to go out of our way anywhere. It was all kind of like, it all flowed. Everything was even, like, it wasn't like you had to go here and then 500 miles out of the way. Everything was kind of like,
section there in the middle that doesn't have a lot of riding.
that was in like the Iowa, Nebraska.
Yeah,
It was the southeast corner of South Dakota, the top north, or the northeast part of Nebraska. Like, that corner had like no riding, so we bypassed that.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of riding we could have done, but
Yeah.
I feel like we hit the best riding that United States of America has to offer in the path that we went.
In the path that we took, absolutely.
I know there's probably double the amount of riding still left that we can do, but
Yeah, I feel like we got a good taste of each place.
maybe next year.
I don't know. Subscribe now.
Yeah, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button if you could. It's down in one of these corners. That would be appreciated. I don't know. Is there anything else that we need to cover?
I can't think of anything.
We did the favorite. We did the ups and the downs.
Yeah.
There was really no downs, like mentally, that I can like. There was not like a, I'm ready to go home. It was like, I don't want to go home.
No.
Colorado, did you say like Silverton you can't drive into? We did stay there and you could ride out of the campground, but you couldn't actually drive the side-by-sides in to Silverton.
Only
but
Lake City.
Lake City, yeah. So if you stayed in Lake City, you can drive the
I really like how we did the loop.
Me too.
Yeah.
Where we stayed, how we did it, and how we come back.
That was beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Silverton was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird being at elevation.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was, you're definitely not going to run a marathon or do much hiking if you're not used to it.
Definitely not.
It's a weird feeling. It doesn't really feel like you're not breathing or like not getting oxygen, but you can definitely feel it's different.
Mm-hmm.
Just feels different.
Yeah, I think 12,980 feet,
Yeah,
I think
almost
was
13.
like, it was like the highest peak that we hit. And you could definitely tell the air was thinner.
Yeah, that was where Emma was sled riding. That elevation, when I was like walking back up the hill like twice, I was like, wow. It was just like harder to catch your breath.
The machines didn't act any different. They didn't run any different, although we weren't like drag racing.
No.
Yeah.
But as far as I could tell, the machines were fine at 13,000 feet.
No,
so.
they didn't miss a beat.
Yeah, every other place was just pretty much just passes and.
We had amazing weather.
Yes.
The entire trip
The
was
worst weather was on the way to Hoover Dam.
Yes.
Very.
We were
It was a
just
sketchy storm.
driving in our pickups.
Yeah.
We did see a tornado.
Yes, we
Oh,
did.
yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was,
Maybe that was the most sketchy, but I don't know.
that was nuts. That was crazy.
There was like no weather though, a little wind. So I did notice driving that where there's no trees or hills and stuff,
It's hard to keep it on the road.
I could feel I could definitely feel the wind all the time.
Yep.
On the trailer.
Yeah, it's.
My trailer's higher than yours.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
So
you're more top heavy.
Yeah.
And
You could definitely feel it.
Yeah, and when they say if there's a tornado going an underpass, well, there's no mountains out there.
There's no
for
underpasses.
there to be any underpasses. So,
So we were coming.
We would have had to try to outrun.
We would have tried.
I would have tried.
So we were. If I kind of give you a reference, we were driving in Wyoming this way, and there was a tornado here, and the road went like this and then this,
Yeah.
and we went this way. The tornado was coming this way, and when we got here, there was nothing but like hail. Like you could see piles of hail.
It wasn't.
So we were like
hailing, but it had just
10 to
hail.
20 minutes away from probably catching the tornado.
Yep.
We were about as close as I would want to get. Yeah, close enough to get a picture. Say we saw one, check that off the list for like.
Probably at least nickel size hail.
Oh, there was some big ones.
Yeah, it was definitely decent
the one
size.
the hail that we saw at the campground at South Dakota was probably
after,
nickel size. Yeah,
probably had melted some.
Yeah, so that was probably the wildest experience.
Yeah, but
I forgot all about the tornado.
Yeah,
the drive on the way to Hoover Dam, it was crazy windy.
It was crazy.
Thank God we didn't have the trailers because we would have blown over.
Saw a lot of tumbleweed.
Yeah, a lot of tumbleweed.
Which was cool.
Man, they were just smashing into our vehicles.
Yeah. Okay, what about worst road?
Oh my gosh, that one in Arizona, I think. Or
From Arizona to Utah.
Oh, yes.
It was just potholes.
Yes.
That was the one that comes to mind. Is the worst one that we drove on was the one from
the actual worst
mostly
road.
The right lane.
We stayed in the passing lane a lot of times because the slow lane was just tore up. Yeah, we lost the light off of our camper.
Yeah.
I think our friend Ed said that his like camper was wrecked afterwards too. The machine come undone. The best road, I don't know if you remember or not. On the way to Hoover Dam. There was a highway that was like so smooth.
Oh yes.
You couldn't feel.
Said about it, yeah.
Yeah, you couldn't feel a bump. Yeah. Like everything was. I don't know what highway it was, but I know where it was at.
The sketchiest.
I was just going to ask you.
Colorado.
What was the sketchiest road we drove on, Sheri?
Colorado, because.
I will say that our truck did struggle a little bit in Colorado.
Yeah.
Going up, and kind of coming down.
Just on the super steep stuff. Yeah.
And I will say that's where the diesel shines.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got all the power in the world, so it didn't struggle at all. Plus, I have the
exhaust
brake, and the transmission works hand in hand with it. I was barely on my brakes going down the hill.
Yeah. So going up a few times, we were probably 4,000 or 5,000 RPMs in first.
I will say once I learned that if I put it in manual and shift myself,
it made it a lot easier.
Basically, yeah, it kept me held back, and then it kept it from shifting up and dulling me down, and then I slowed down, and then so if I just kept it in first, it was a lot better.
Yeah, so we were pretty high in RPMs, a few climbs, and I know going through the $1 Million Highway, we did smoke our brakes a little bit because they were getting hot. We don't have the exhaust brake. Sheri was bouncing back and forth between trailer brakes and truck brakes. And I was like, hey, just burn the trailer brakes up rather than truck brakes, whatever you got to do. But that road was sketchy.
That road was very sketchy.
And they were doing work on it, so
yeah, let's just throw some salt on the wound.
Yeah, the cones were like in the middle, but
there were on
our side.
You could tell a lot of people were hitting the cones because they were all about half knocked over.
There's not enough room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, you're talking
yes.
6 inches on the one side of the line, and then a 600-foot drop.
And nothing.
We came around that one turn, and that tractor trailer was coming around on our side. I was like, oh, here we go.
That road was sketchy.
Yeah, and I think we hit it the best way from Silverton to Ouray, I think. Because if you're coming from Ouray to Silverton, then you're on the very, very steep drop-off part for most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah.
A lot of times when we're on the way that we were coming, we were kind of away from the really steep drop-offs.
We still had some drop-offs on our side, but the worst drop-offs was definitely if you were coming from Ouray to Silverton.
Yeah, so that was best road, sketchiest road. And I actually think that there's like if you Google like sketchiest roads or most deaths on roads, I think $1 Million Highway is like top tier for in the world.
They do have the avalanche bridge.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Road. And
you could tell it was working because there was a bunch of snow where that bridge was. Yeah. So, but I think we're probably almost. I think we're through like 3 batteries, so probably 40 or 50 minutes by now. So.
Sorry, we just can't stop rambling.
It was a lot of trip.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a huge trip. I didn't get burned out. We wished we probably could have kept going.
I'd still be doing it if I could afford it.
Yeah, we didn't want to come back. So a lot of people were like, "Are you ready to come home?" No. We were not ready to come home whatsoever. But sometimes you just have to adult, and adulting is not fun.
Reality set in.
Yeah. Maybe one day we could do it full time.
So once you do this trip, it ruins you. It's just like riding out of state and then having to ride your local parks again.
Well, it depends on
I guess
if you live in Pennsylvania and you're
or
like, I don't.
It's like when we like only rode Pennsylvania, then we went to like Hatfield, McCoy, or Tennessee, and then we had to come back and ride like our local parks.
Yeah,
like,
the
wow.
local Pennsylvania isn't really
Rider friendly.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of pay to play areas that are not very fun to play in, but
so
that's
like,
why we travel so much.
40 days off of work, and now I have to go to work.
So,
I'm like,
So, yeah, so hopefully our next trip out after this 40-day trip isn't like, I want to get back on a 40-day trip again.
Well, we'll be going to another new place. So usually the new places, it's just fun to experience the newness, and
we're running out of new places. So let us know in the comments below some new places that if you follow along and you know what we hit, what we haven't hit, let us know. I know Black Mountain's very close on the list. We will be hitting that this year. We haven't done Wildcat yet. Everyone I talk to says it's not really worth an 8.5 hour drive and you could ride it all in a half day. So let me know about Wildcat. But
I do want to do the Gulches. It's super small though, so we would have to, and it's a little bit farther. So
I know there's like Carolina Adventure World.
I was just
down
gonna
that
say,
way.
I think there's another one that's close.
We would have to make that into like one little bit bigger trip. But
so the Gulches, Carolina Adventure World, Black Mountain, Wildcat.
It's just the new places are getting farther and farther away. That's the
that's the bad
hard
thing.
part.
What's that other one down there? There's another one down there.
Oh, well, we
Busco
didn't
Beach.
do Hawk Pride yet in Alabama. So
Yeah.
we could always...
What's that other place in like Virginia that has like the trail called White Well, Caros,
Oh yeah,
or something like that? I don't know how you pronounce
We
it.
talked about going there a while back.
Yeah.
And
So
it looks like it might be interesting.
there's still some stuff left on the table, but we tried to bring you new content, new footage in every video. So hopefully we've been succeeding up to this point. But like Sheri said, the places that are new are further and further away. I know there's a place called Moonlight in Missouri.
I'm trying to think
It's
what's
kind of
up
similar
north.
to like S'more.
Like up north ways, not really too many things.
Sheri said about branching up into Canada riding.
It's not really that. It's almost the same as going to like Alabama.
Yeah, it's just
The drive.
we can actually from Pennsylvania we can be to Canada in like
Couple hours.
5 hours
Yeah.
max. I think 4 or 5 hours probably. I think it's
less
probably
than that.
well for me. I think it's like a 3-hour drive to Erie, and then a little bit
It's
through New
It's
York.
like 2 hours for me to get to Erie.
Okay, so 3.5, 4 hours probably for us.
I think when we did Niagara Falls, it was 4 hours. So.
Okay, so we could be to I don't know where the closest
Right,
place
I
to
don't know
ride
that.
is up there, but it's just different riding. I don't know.
We would have to.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, Maine, New Hampshire, Maine. I don't know, I'd kind of like to go back to Drummond Island because it's been a while.
Yes.
I know Crystal wants to go there really bad.
All right, we'll definitely have to plan a trip for Drummond coming up.
So,
Drummond Island is really cool.
I guess Badlands.
Badlands in Indiana.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to check that park out.
All right, there's a lot left on the table. We just got to get there. A lot of the places that we went to are on our tablet that we sell on our website. If you guys are into navigation setups or tablets or GPS systems, check out our website. Look at those before buying anything else. I think you guys will be really surprised on how many trail systems we have and how well it's laid out.
Satellite view.
We have over 60 different trail systems. Everything has a satellite view except for a few of, I think, like Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, because they're like full state trail systems, and there's just not enough memory available. I mean, we're talking like tens of gigabytes to download those. So those aren't, if you're in one of those areas and you want to ride, you can download little areas. We just can't download the entire state, and we don't know where you live to be able to download that section. So there's only like 4 on there that don't have a satellite view. You can still use them, you just won't have that satellite background. But there's over 55 trail systems that do have a satellite background. Very easy to navigate. We use Backcountry Navigator. You can check out our website for merch, stickers, shirts, hoodies, all that good stuff. Cages, if you guys are wanting a cage. We are extremely booked up right now for the next probably 2 or 3 months. So if you're wanting to have a cage built by us, something like this or something different, hit us up, let us know. We'll try to get you scheduled in the best we can. And I think that's pretty much it. Anything to add before we end the video?
No, if you have any other questions we didn't answer,
Drop them in the comments.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I can't think of anything.
Okay, we're gonna end this off. Hopefully you guys made it to the end of the video. I know it's been a long one. There was a lot to talk about. We could probably stand here for another hour and talk about the trip. It was a once
Epic.
I want to say that it was a once in a lifetime trip, but I'm hoping someday we could do it again. Maybe a little bit different, maybe not as long, maybe shorter, different places. I don't know.
Maybe for the rest of our lives.
We'll find out. We'll figure it out. I don't
Go
know.
big or go home, right?
Go big or go home, right? Hit that subscribe button for us if you could. And we'll see you on the next one. We have a lot of builds coming up. We have a lot of garage videos with Sheri's machine coming up. That's going to be a huge build. We're turning it into something pretty crazy. You'll be able to see in upcoming videos. Scott's front end will be released very soon after the legal stuff is figured out. We got to figure out patents. Aside from that, stick around a few more videos. You'll see what else is coming up. We're going to be riding very soon on another trip, so there'll be some riding videos coming up. We're going to keep the videos coming to you, so we'll see you on the next one.